again. My name is Susan Dascenzo, and I'm the director of the Watertown Chamber and Watertown Main Street program. I am very pleased to be at this dedication ceremony for Grace. For those of you who know me, I've named this building Grace a long time ago, and I'm so pleased that Mr. Bill Lindborg has purchased her and is giving her some new life. I would like at this time to welcome to the podium our mayor and our distinguished alumnus for 2015, Mayor John David.
I sort of kind of feel like a minister or pastor on Sunday morning. Everybody's sitting in the back of the but that's okay. I want to welcome you all here this afternoon. This is a wonderful occasion for the city of Watertown. This building, guess what, folks? It's coming back to life. Yeah. And that is it's not often we get to see a resurrection, but we're gonna witness one here in the very near future. I want to thank Mr. Lindborg for having the faith in our city. This is I can't even express exactly how wonderful it is, but it's fantastic, and we do appreciate your faith. And that's what we need in this city is faith. This is a great place. I've lived here pretty much virtually all my entire life, except for 4 years when I was in the second grade state of Indiana. Not as good as Wisconsin, but it's right behind me. But this city is just a super place. It has a great location. We've got a tremendous number of assets. We need to capitalize on those assets. We need to promote those assets, and we will be where we should be in the great cities in this state. And this is a beginning right here. And I can tell by the looks on people's faces, they're walking around and looking at this place, looking at these displays, all these great pictures from the Historical Society. It's just going to happen, and it's going to be wonderful. Look back at the library pictures. That expansion, another step in the process. So, again, I want to thank you all for coming. I especially want to thank Mr. Lindborg for his faith in this community, and everybody have a good time, and I think Tom Schultz is going to be next. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is certainly a special one for Bill over here, as well as our Chamber of Commerce, the Historical Society, and the Genealogical Society, all of whom worked so hard to get today and tomorrow's programs going. But you know, more than that, this is a special time for our entire community. A strong, vibrant downtown is one of the most important ingredients of a successful community. And this Schempf project underscores the commitment we all have to the downtown. The Watertown Daily Times is now in its 120th year of daily publication, and throughout this long publishing history, we have been advocates for a strong downtown Watertown, and we've lived that vision by always having our entire operation located in the heart of the city. Over these 120 years, we moved our operations several times, but we've always been located on Main Street in the heart of the city, and we have worked hard to create the kind of environment where our local businesses can prosper. One of our guiding principles has been, continues to be, and always will be unwavering support for a vibrant and active downtown Watertown. That's part of the heritage of our entire community. A number of weekly newspapers preceded the Daily Times, but none survive today. Our first edition rolled off the press back on Saturday, November 23rd, 1895. The paper was founded by John W. Kruger and E.J. Schoolcraft. The first edition was a scant 4 pages, but it had a lot of local copy in it. Since then, we've not missed a date of publishing, and we've completed over 35,000 editions. It was back in 1919 when the Daily Times was a relatively young 24 years of age, when John Clifford secured a controlling interest in the newspaper, beginning a long history of the Clifford family ownership, which continues to this day. John Clifford's tenure as editor and publisher of our newspaper was cut short when he died in a car train accident at the 12th Street crossing in Watertown on Christmas Day in 1922. The Clifford family immediately named longtime employee J.P. Holland as editor and publisher, and he led the paper on behalf of the Clifford family until 1932, when John D. Clifford took over after graduating from Marquette University and then working for a short time at the Shorewood Weekly newspaper. John D. Clifford continued in that position until his death in 1987. John D.'s son, Jim, who most all of you know, joined the paper in 1964 and assumed the titles of editor and publisher upon his father's death. Jim Clifford's son, Kevin, is now the fourth generation of the family to have a leadership role in the paper, and he is currently associate publisher and general manager. Today, ownership of the paper is shared by Jim Clifford and his wife, Pat, and Jim Clifford's sister, Margaret Krieger, and her husband, Ralph. I am now in my 50th year at the newspaper and serve as managing editor. The newspaper has undergone tremendous change in those 50 years I've been around. Up until then, it changed little. We were a typical old letterpress operation, small printing press, and hot lead printing technology. But starting with the 60s, the only thing that was constant at our paper was change. We constructed a large edition and installed a high-speed press in 1964, only to sell it for scrap metal just 7 years later, when offset printing technology swept through the industry. All the hot type from linotype machines to liquid lead was obsolete and sold for scrap. Then came the computer revolution, which continues to this day. We're now in our 5th generation of computers. We've vastly increased our local news coverage to meet the expectations of our readers and the community as it continued to grow. We were a staff of 4 people when I joined the paper, and today we have a staff of 10, the largest in history. We at the Daily Times have changed dramatically over the years as we adapt to the changing technologies and reader tastes and needs. But one thing that has not and will not change is our commitment to Watertown and to our downtown, which is anchored by the many Main Street historical buildings. That's what makes today's Schempf Building designation all the more important. And as they say, the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Not only are we celebrating the Schempf Building being designated as a local landmark, we're also celebrating 15 years of the Watertown Main Street program. Watertown is very fortunate because we have a large downtown with many architecturally contributing buildings, and we also have some merchants, many merchants that have been in business for a long time. I would like to call Tom Lyer of Keck Furniture to the podium. His business has been in constant family business for over 100 years. Tom?
Thank you, Susan. As I was trying to figure out what to say today, I went across the street to Trader Tom's Antiques and ran into something. There was an old Watertown High School Orbit yearbook from 1914, and I was thumbing through it and looked in the back, and here's an advertisement for F.G. Keck & Company, what every student needs. We have a large and beautiful line of desks, desk chairs, tables, etc. Please. So I got a real kick out of that, thumbed through it a little bit more, and here was something 2 pages back from Schempf Brothers Company. Graduation apparel worthy of the event, fine young men's suits, hats, furnishings, etc. And I thought, man, that is a perfect tie-in for something like this. I can't thank Bill enough for his for his investment in Watertown, his dedication to our downtown. As Susan had mentioned, our store, Keck Furniture, has been in business for a long time. We go back to 1853. We are the oldest furniture store in the state and one of the oldest in the nation. As of about 15 years ago, as far as we can tell, we were the fourth oldest in the country. And I think we've moved up that ladder just a little bit since then with what's going on in the economy. But we've been very, very committed to Watertown, to our downtown. We've stayed true to our core values of offering quality and service. We do things that other furniture stores just don't do, things that people expect. To be treated with respect, to have a quality product in their home. Over the last probably 10 years, we've made a real effort to go back to having domestically made furniture, which is something that always used to be done. And with the advent of Chinese manufacturing and the demise of American production, it's just gone away. We're very proud that 90% of what we carry in this store is made in the United States today. The store is presently owned by my sister Lynn Quinn and myself. We're into Watertown for the long haul. I've got 6 children, and my hope is that one of them is going to stick and come down to Watertown or come down to Keck's and take over the reins, so that when we have a dedication for a building 25 years from now, one of my children is going to be standing here addressing this crowd. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your having me here today.
A lot of the research and pictures and stories that made the purchase of this building possible, some of the pictures that you see around the perimeter of the building were made possible by the Watertown Historical Society and by the Dodge Jefferson Genealogical Society. At this time, I would like Deb Skalitzky to talk a little bit about our hidden treasure, the Genealogical Society.
Thank you very much. I first want to say that I'm very proud and honored to be a part of this, and I thank you, Bill, for believing in me. It's been a long ride. Okay, what I would like to do is I would like to, I have here an obituary for John Schempf, and I thought that this would be a nice time to read that to all of you. And it's from, okay, the passing of pioneer, Watertown merchant. John Schempf, pioneer resident of Watertown, one of the most widely known businessmen in this section of Wisconsin, answered the call of death in the family home in Watertown Saturday morning after a brief illness. He was confined to his home since December 7th with heart trouble, which was complicated later with pneumonia. John Schempf was the son of late Mr. and Mrs. George F. Schempf and was born in Milwaukee, March 22nd, 1844. When a child, he removed to this section with his parents, where they engaged in farming in the town of Emmett. And after leaving school, he entered the employ of Gorham P. Jones as an apprentice clerk, completing his apprenticeship with his uncle, George S. Schempf. And in 1867, when 23 years of age, he embarked in the mercantile pursuits with his father, the late George F. Schempf, establishing a general merchandise business which was destined later to become one of the largest and best-known business concerns in the state. with patronage extending over the greater part of southeastern Wisconsin. In 1875, Mr. Schempf formed a partnership with his uncle, George S. Schempf, and brother, the late Leonard Schempf, under the firm name of George S. Schempf and Company, of George Schempf, the business being conducted by the brothers under the name of Schempf Brothers. On August 11th of 1896, it was incorporated under the name of the Schempf Brothers Company, of which Mr. Schempf was president at the time of his death. On May 8th, 1870, Mr. Schempf was united in wedlock with Bertha L. Spear. And Bertha was Bill's great-great-aunt. Mr. Schempf began his long and honorable business life more than 60 years ago, and during that time, his name was a synonym for honesty and integrity. He was a type of force to have left their mark on the upbuilding of the community. Democratic by nature, he gathered his warm friendships, which endured during a life. He never aspired to the public life, taking interest, however, in all that meant the better welfare of the city. A generous giver to every worthy cause without ostentation, and to the community to deplore the loss of an active and widely popular businessman and citizen. Mr. Schempf is survived by his widow and 4 children, Edward L. Schempf, Miss Elsa Schempf, Watertown, Miss Weber, Stevens Point, John W. Schempf of Milwaukee. 7 grandchildren survived. The funeral took place on Monday afternoon, services being conducted in the home of Reverend Julius Klingman of St. Mark's Lutheran Church at 2 o'clock with burial at Oak Hill Cemetery. So, I mean, he was quite the man, and you kind of feel, you know, by the huge building here and all his efforts that he put into making this a good community, and we just wish I could have met. Well, that's it, and thank you so much.
Melissa Lampy of she is chairwoman of the Historic Preservation Commission and Downtown Design Committee. She will be presenting Mr. Lindborg the local landmark plaque.
Thank you. As Susan mentioned, I am Melissa Lampy, and I'm chairwoman of the city's Historic Preservation Commission. I'm also the president of the Watertown Historical Society, so I obviously really like Watertown history and old buildings. One of the most important functions of the city's Historic Preservation Commission is to identify and work to preserve historic properties in the city. One way we accomplish this is to identify and list historic properties in the National Register of Historic Places, the State of Wisconsin Register of Historic Places, and then locally has designated historic landmarks. In Watertown, we currently have 5 National Register Historic Districts. There are 4 residential districts, and then the Main Street Commercial Historic District, which stretches from Washington Street all the way down to 7th Street, and then a block in both north and south directions. The downtown is unique as a historic district because it is also a locally landmarked historic district. This occurred in the early 1990s. And what it means when something is a locally designated landmark is that any changes that are proposed to the exterior that would require a building permit need to be approved by the Historic Preservation Commission. So this really helps to preserve and protect buildings and keep them from being dramatically altered. National Register properties, the designation is honorary only, so people can really choose to do whatever they want to those properties. There's no restriction on National Register properties unless people are seeking tax credits, then there is an approval process. Even though the downtown is a locally landmarked district, when when Bill purchased this building, we wanted to do something extra special to recognize its historic significance. So we worked together to list it as an individual historic landmark. So above and beyond being part of a district, we recognize this building as being significant for its architecture and its history. Because local landmarks are done by ordinance, we have some guidelines that we have to follow set up by the city through our ordinance chapter 29, which is the Historic Preservation Code. Basically what we need to do is create a criteria for the building, write up the history, be able to explain its historic significance. And there are 6 criteria that can outline what a historic property for local designation must have. This building meets 3 of the 6, and I will read you those 3 right now. It has character or interest as part of the heritage of the city. It embodies distinguishing characteristics of an architectural type or specimen. It has a relationship to other distinctive buildings, structures, improvements, or areas which are eligible for preservation according to an historic design or motif. So because this is locally designated by ordinance, the City Council had to approve it. We had public hearings on it, and it was all approved unanimously. So we're very excited about it. So we have a little plaque for Mr. Lindborg. And as we continue to list properties downtown, we hope to have more of these on buildings. And it says George F. Schempf Building, 1855, City of Watertown designated historic landmark.
So hello everyone, welcome. I want to introduce you to a couple people. I'll talk and then point. So the gentleman playing the violin there in the corner, that's my grandfather. His name is Frank Bramer. He was born in Hustisford and came here as a child. Beneath him is my mother, Pauline Lindborg. And Bramer was her maiden name. And they're how I'm here. So. You know, it's odd to think back, the history, looking back in this area in particular, it has a very great and profound history. So when I first came here, I came here kind of in an abstract way. I came to really bury my mom. Most of her family, all of her family for the most part, is buried here in Oak Hill Cemetery. And when she passed away, she had asked that if she could be buried there. My father was open to the idea. They were both cremated, so we brought their cremated remains back to Watertown. Unfortunately, that was the first time that I had seen Watertown. I had only learned about it and known about it, known from the family stories that my mom used to tell me, but I had never experienced it in person. So kind of one of the tragedies probably I would say that I miss is not being able to share a lot of this with my mom. Sorry. But that being said, made the journey here to, again, pay tribute to my mom and her wishes, and wanting to, you know, understand what this community is all about. And from the first time that I came here and saw the steeple from the Catholic Church coming into town, my mom had almost described it, so I could already start a sense of feeling about what Watertown was. Now my mom had Alzheimer's and suffered for over 8 years, and in her later years, unfortunately, she digressed mostly into her childhood. So whether that was, you know, that was tragic in one instance, it gave me a very fond place in my heart for Watertown. And so she would share stories of ice skating on the Rock River, having family functions with the Schempfs at their home on Clyman Street. She talked about, oh, they had a big department store in town. Had no idea what that was all about, but okay, Mom, thanks. You know, that's, I mean, these are just stories, you know, your parents tell you, and you think, oh, it's probably a little bit useful or something. But all those stories then, when I came here for the first time, resonated. And I'm so grateful that I was able to experience that through her words and her visions. And when you have Alzheimer's, those early years are crystal clear. Yeah, crystal clear. And so they were true to form. So I was, did, live that experience through her eyes. And then I came here and I wanted to, get to know really a little bit more about the family. And I met Debbie at the Genealogy Society, and I met Ken, I met Mary, I met so many people. Everyone where I came to, kind of as a newbie, I really knew nothing. I had to reach out to the people at the Oak Hill Cemetery explaining that we had a large family plot, and here we are 60 some years later, not have buried anyone there. Here's my name, here's my mom's name. Is it possible to honor her burial wish at Oak Hill? That's It was always yes. How can we help you? And that is something very special that you experience, that's unique for a small town, or maybe a very special small town like Watertown. So I'm here to share with you that those experiences are lasting, memorable, and they mean something. And part of my experience coming here and wanting to do something with this building and wanting to give something back is because this is a special place. It was always special. There were a lot of people here that made it in a very big way. Can you imagine a dry goods store back in the day, through the Depression, being one of the biggest enterprises in the state of Wisconsin? A dry goods store from Watertown, Wisconsin. So I'm here to tell you, if we build it, if we create it, they will come, and we will be great. And we can rebuild our historic Main Street into a place that everyone from Oconomowoc will want to come. And that's when we know we've in this last trip here, I've been here for 6 days or so, and reached out to so many people, and some people have very fond memories of Watertown. Some are a little bit on the fence, like where we're going. And I'm so grateful that all of you are here, because all of you obviously want to go to the same place as I do. And so I thank you for taking the time out of your afternoon to be here today. And tomorrow we have a great function with both the Historical Society and the Genealogy Society. And we're here to just really celebrate all the great things of yesterday, of today, and tomorrow. And I think if we all work and have a vision and share that vision, we'll make it happen. So I'm here to thank you all for coming, and thank you for wishing me well. I wish us all well, and God bless Watertown, Wisconsin.
You can feel the enthusiasm and the pride in our downtown as we celebrate this wonderful building and 15 years of the Watertown Main Street program. The Watertown Main Street program's purpose is to preserve and revitalize our historic downtown through events, streetscape projects, and supporting our business owners. The Main Street program plans many events through the year, which include the Holiday Parade of Homes, the Women's Only Weekend, Pumpkin Palooza, the Zombie Run, our Downtown Dollar Days promotion, which is going on right now, and it will go through our Maxwell Street Days, which are July 15th through the 18th. And then while all of you are in town, I hope you stay this evening and join us at the North 1st Street parking lot for our Rock the River celebration. And if you need a little exercise in the morning, please sign up to do a Tour de Goose bike ride. There are several different distances for you to participate in. And there'll be festivities all day tomorrow celebrating our downtown. Thanks to the Watertown Main Street program, there have been a number of streetscape improvements, like the benches, the beautiful flower pots, the downtown clock, and the art posters, which are art banners, which are part of the Art on Main banner program. The goals of the Main Street program for the community are to continue to help business owners with funding assistance for facade improvements, continuing to share new and exciting ideas to improve the downtown, and to offer promotions that businesses and citizens are excited to participate in. As is reflected in our recently completed City of Watertown brand, we celebrate our community's past for giving us a strong foundation, as evidenced by the wonderful slide program of Ken Riedel, which he will start when we're done with the prepared remarks today, while you're having a piece of cake to celebrate our anniversary. We celebrate our future while planning for the potential uses for this building, and also in the beautiful drawings of our Watertown Public Library that Peg Checkeye has so graciously brought with her today. A big thank you to the Main Street Board, the committees, the volunteers that do the work of Watertown Main Street and have done it so well for the last 15 years. I look forward, as all of our board, committees, and volunteers, look forward to continue to promote downtown Watertown to visitors and citizens alike. I hope that you can join us for a piece of cake to celebrate the 15-year anniversary of Watertown Main Street and the designation of this beautiful building as a local landmark. Please feel free to visit and look at some of the displays. Thank you very much for coming.